in. Again, you should be able to have the ability to mute and unmute yourself and also turn your camera on. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and, ask them or put them in the chat, no problem. We are going to be recording this, so don't worry. If you missed something, you can go back, give us a little bit, we'll get it edited and put on the SCORE website. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Mark and Michelle.
Okay, Michelle, no more ado. All the ado must go from here on. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jody. Hey, we're back, MLS on Monday, and this time we're gonna talk statistics. But Michelle, you said it just before we came on camera. Statistics was with more of the marketing flair, right? With more of the let's do something with these statistics.
Yeah, I mean, the idea being, there's access to a lot of data, right? Wherever you get your data, whether it's through us or, whether you're doing things within your brokerage or anything, there's a ton of data. The question is, how do you repurpose that? How do you make it into usable content? So we're going to do an update. So we're looking at February data, but we're also going to talk mostly about how to use it or what the conversation might be around it so that it lends itself to more of a marketing piece. It becomes a piece of its own, right? So,
and that's sort of your assignment as you're all going through today's class is be thinking about what marketing are you doing now, and how can you incorporate these images, these charts, these graphs, these terms into your marketing engine you've already got going. And because you're right, Michelle, boy, do we have content. I always like saying it looks like you stayed up all night doing Excel and PowerPoint. No, you went to Michelle's website and did a click and boom, you were set up, but you look great doing it. So, so Michelle, let's sort of two-part thing here. Let's talk about some current stats and talk about how can I use them.
Okay, great. So, and I love how you promoted me there. My website and I love Dave. Dave Wetzel would love to hear how it's.
Okay, Neil's on the show.
Neil, have you been to my website? All right, guys. Here we go. Hopefully, you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, looks great.
So it's part update and part marketing. And so, for example, you can't talk about an update without a median price. You'll notice this is different. If anybody watches the Aculus Market Minute videos, or if we've come out to your office, you know that I usually run like this really big chart with a ton of data points, because educationally, you would want to know those numbers. But maybe for some of your marketing efforts, Mark, this might be a better way of digesting 4 years worth of data. So this is January through December. Single family homes in Santa Clara County median prices. And so I chose this graph purposefully for this session, because this is the kind of modern look and feel you might want on social media or on a flyer or something that you might want to build. And the reason is because it has a lot of colors, it's a little bit simple, and then most people can kind of get the cyclical nature of the market. So you can see here that January and February of 2021 are already off to a very, very strong start in prices. So great for sellers, very tough for your buyers. But if you're like me, getting stopped by the neighbors saying, is this a bubble? What's going on? Why are things so expensive? I think this is a great illustration of it didn't come out of nowhere. You can see the goldish line at the very right-hand side. And you could say last year was the second half anyway, exceptional. And January and February so far have far exceeded the prior 3 years. Now, important to note that teal line, greenish teal, is 2018, which is still the best year ever, in real estate in terms of volume and some other factors. So it's a great year in real estate. And look at how that orange line already is off to a different start. So this is something where you have a lot of data, but it's still good looking, could be screen captured and thrown onto a report. It also roughly gives you numbers so that people have to call you, right? This is 1.486 was the median price in March, besting the last March of 2018, which was the last all-time high at 1.454. Right?
And there, Michelle, that 2 sentences, that could be your Facebook post, right? This image with those last two sentences, you know, current median price in Santa Clara County is X, topping Y from last year, whatever it is, but very simple, nice text, easy to read with a great image behind it.
Yeah, I think that could be really attractive kinds of graphs. So you come, you screenshot this, or you can send it to Jody. Jody can send it out. And so this is the kind of thing where readily available to you. You can see this in a lot of places. The car has great infographics. I mean, there's lots of places to get data. It's just a matter of how do you use it and what can you say about it, right? So then I go to example of like, do not send this to your farm. This is an educational, but it's a great chart. And for data lovers like myself, if I were in the market selling or buying right now, this is an awesome chart. Hang in there with me. It's inventory and median price. Now back to that, why is everything so expensive? Well, I added 3.5 years or 3+ years of data because 2018 was the last time we've seen these kind of exceptional prices, right? So you see 2018, 19, 20, and so far in 2021, and you can see very clearly that a lot of times when inventory, those gray bars, goes down, it puts upward pressure on that median sale price. And so we see it at the 2018 in the very early part, and now we're seeing it again, where we have even a smidge more inventory, right? What's left at the end of the month, but those prices are really high. And so you can see generally 2020 didn't have as much inventory. You can see here what we normally would look at, and that's kind of an explanation for prices. So maybe you put part of this graph, maybe you take the edge of the graph, maybe you send this to your data lovers, but this is maybe more of an educational one, but this surely gives you some evidence, information, backup. I'm not sure how to call it, but to what's going on in the marketplace, right? So.
And Michelle, I think, you know, a lot of the customers, we do live in a very intellectual, academic, professionally brilliant community, right? Your client she is the senior vice president of analytics and logistics. He is the, you know, the financial wizard for a small startup. We got some people who love their charts, love their
Yeah, in that case, I'd say send it.
Yeah.
I'd say go for it because it's a great chart. I mean, it illustrates so much what's happening. We did Monterey earlier this morning, Mark, and it showed it too.
Yeah.
Inventory hasn't ever been so low, and so it really shows you what happens. And so that's really good stuff. I mean, this is, you know, this is current. This is, you know, if people like it, then they like it. I mean, the other thing to look at is why isn't there more choice? Well, part of the reason that prices go up so high is because we just haven't seen as many new listings. Look at 2020 and 2021 so far, just even compared to 2 years ago, which is 2019 on the left-hand side of the graph, right? So it's the time of year that new listings are climbing. So we're going to see a little bit more choice for your buyers, but you know, you can see where just it was pretty subdued last year. We never saw our huge peaks. Our peak was actually in October. So the most number of new listings was in October of last year, where we usually see a March or April. So pandemic shift, but you can show people, well, there's not as much coming onto the market as we've seen in prior years. Now, again, this one's not the freshest or newest looking, but how do you use this data? Well, you talk about how, you know, it's up 12% over a year ago. But up 7% over 2 years ago. So, you know, you can talk about how that's what's, you know, helping these prices stay very high.
Right.
So maybe this is a content, you know, graph.
Right. Well, it's, you know, it's a condition of the marketplace right now. Yes, you know, high median prices with low inventory. That's just the facts, as they say.
Yeah, and then especially for your buyers, like let's keep buyers in mind for these next two. So what is days on market? I've heard a lot of times agents have told us, Mark, no one really cares about days on market. It's more educational. And I think, how could you not love days on market? Or love is strong. How could you not use days on market? Because it tells you as a seller, what's your expectation? You know, do we have that second weekend of showings or not? I mean, you can see here, Santa Clara County has, even in a pandemic, I mean, show me a pandemic, even a pandemic hasn't been really, really tight. That's a very tight, fast market. We didn't see seasonal. We didn't see the December, January slowdown. Look at 2 years ago, it was 32. Yeah. This just kept right on flowing. You can tell your sellers when's a good time. Well, look at this. This means it's a great time to sell your home. Everything's moving quickly. Whatever's coming on is coming back off. And it's telling your buyers, you just don't have any time to choose. Take a look, you know, this is it. You don't have time.
And I think
Too much
what
time.
people are seeing here now is they can start thinking about, well, I could do a stats day, a social media stats day every week, right? Because I've got so much content to work with. Tuesdays is days on market day, right? Fridays I'm doing medium price. There's just a lot of material to work with, and you don't have to be summa cum laude to make it happen. You just got to come to our Aculus page. We'll show that later.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you're trying to say. I'd tell the fine folks out there that if you have days on market day, you're going to be by yourself on a webinar, to be very honest.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's coming to days on market day, but I know what you're saying. I love the spirit of what you're saying. Yeah, stats. I mean, these are the things people can access them very readily on like a Zillow or on, consumer data is very there, but is the relative information there is like, yes, but this hasn't happened in 2 years. And the reason this is interesting as we focus on sale to list price ratio is because we're finally seeing pre-pandemic type sale to list price ratio numbers, right? 106% is not something we saw since March of last year when the pandemic struck. So 2019, we just really hovered in this very unusual for Santa Clara County, 100 to 102, never got past 102. And now we see it up at 106. And steadily climbing. We see it also in San Mateo County, Santa Cruz County, San Benito County. Hollister is now 6 of the last 8 months has been over 100% with an all-time matching of 103%. Santa Cruz County has spent a lot of time in the over 100%, which is very unusual. So This is something that's happening, this pricing and the strategy, as we heard today in Monterey County. What did he say? He's bringing Silicon Valley pricing habits are coming south. And so we're just starting to see it. And so while people say, wow, you're going to pay a higher price, but maybe a little under ask, unfortunately not. I mean, we'll take a look at the cities here in a second, but again, a graph that shows you, hey, for sellers, it hasn't been this good since 2018.
Yeah, because, in 2020, this time, last year, 2020, remember March, we still had a half of March that was really going well. Right. And that 106% spike there in the middle of the chart, that was that great start to last year. Right?
To last March. Yeah. I mean, we were in the office on March 12th, and my boss and I were like, this is going to be 110. I just know it, and then a pandemic. And then we got, like, I'll see you in a few weeks. And now it's a year. But, see you soon. But this is the kind of thing where you can say pre-pandemic levels, so for your sellers, this is not great news for your buyers, but it's definitely good news for your sellers. So 2018 is the year we saw 109, 11, even 112% of ask, right? So this is still not all time. This is still not out of control, or it's nothing we've seen before. No, we've seen this before. We've seen double this before, but definitely pre-pandemic. So talking to your sellers, this would be a great one for your sellers. It's an unfortunate one for your buyers.
And everybody, get out your writing tablet, your Post-it notes, whatever you got. Pre-pandemic sales, right?
Sale to list price ratio.
Well, I want them to pick up these little catchphrases, right? That they can work into their dialogue or work into their post, the text on their post and stuff. Pre-pandemic sales. Okay.
Sale to list price ratio.
Yeah.
We're not seeing pre-pandemic sales. It's a whole different thing.
But that's always your favorite too. You've always been a big fan.
I think it tells you a lot about what's going on in the market. Sale to list price ratio, I think. Yeah. And we'll talk about it by city. That's not the last of it. Oh, I will not let this go.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah, if you order now. So let's talk about it at the city level, because here's some stats. Now, gosh, I mean, if you're talking about marketing, this is more just, the county, and people would say, yeah, but the county is, Gilroy to Palo Alto, right? The county is a little bit broad. So what's really happening where I am? And so that's why we always also focus on a city look. I even grabbed MLS area for these fine folks. So, we can take a look at that too here in a second. But this is where you're going to get some of those numbers where you say, hey, all my folks in Los Gatos, this is an all-time high price on 33 sales, right? So that means lots of sellers feeling empowered and a big time price. So that's not just, out of the blue. Saratoga, I believe, also an all-time high on 19 sales, a little bit lower in the sales numbers, but I mean, Morgan Hill is an all-time high price, I believe. The last 2 months have been incredible in Morgan Hill.
Now that San
But that,
Martin number looks a little crazy.
oh, 2 sales. That's why
Two
I ignored
sales.
it.
Okay.
2 sales. Los Altos, not Hills. Los Altos looks like an all-time high price. Um, Cupertino looks like it's a 2-year, right? A 2-year high.
Two-year high.
Mountain View, a 2-year high. San Jose, I think, is an all-time price, barely, but all-time. I mean, these are the kinds of things where you tell your sellers, hey, we're seeing all-time prices in the single-family home market here recently, right? This is the last known data to us. We don't have March yet. And so you can feel really confident going out with that. It's appreciated 9% over the last year, since last year, right? A year ago. So this is the kind of thing where maybe you take this chart, Mark, and you don't want to send the whole chart, but maybe you send pieces of the chart, or you take the data and put it into, we've seen people do really cool graphics with the data, because you can count on the data,
Right.
but make it look a little bit nicer. This is for educational
But
purposes.
Spoiler alert, because I think Jody's got something special coming up later, right? But Jody said she's got something special of, how to do just that.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we'll keep going through what's here, and then we'll talk about that. Yeah, this is MLS area. Now, I don't usually do MLS area, but for those of you who are looking in particularly San Jose, right? San Jose is a tough one because it's a very big city and there's just so much variation. You can see here. So Los Gatos, Monte Sereno is outside, but Almaden, South San Jose, Blossom, Willow Glen, Camryn, these are all parts of Evergreen, Central San Jose. This is all parts of San Jose. So if you're looking at that, you can even grab things by MLS area and be a little bit more specific. Like Willow Glen had a rough couple of years, actually. 19 and 20 were not as high or consistent, but we had some seasonal declines and some things that came up. But now you can see here, wow, look at this for your sellers, right? A 12% year-over-year increase. And you can start to go and maybe even focus your marketing specifically on area, because I mean, there's hardly bad news for your sellers, right? And even for some of your buyers, you can show like the Campbell part area, not city. Campbell, marginally up, Berryessa marginally up, Evergreen staying very consistent. In other words, there's some places where, and this is the median, so half under, half over. It doesn't mean there's still not good purchases out there. And then common interest. So maybe some of you are out working common interest, the condos and townhomes. And here you can see, within Santa Clara County, there was a lot of price appreciation in the common interest market as well. Now, we don't see the new builds. We're not going to get some of those luxury high-rise type listings downtown that they're building, unfortunately, or at those out by Milpitas, lots of new builds. Santa Clara
city, that's not really
Sunnyvale out by where our office is, so we're not going to get some of that, but you could still see here 30 straight months of increases in the common interest market. It's coming back. So if people have been like, I want to move out of my townhome, is it a good time? We're finally starting to see it rebound a little bit. You could show these numbers and maybe talk to them about maybe this is a good time to start getting back into the market, because a nearly 2-year high in the common interest market. We haven't seen these numbers since June of 2019 as a county, right? So that's a good one to share if you have people thinking about it on the common interest side. So price is a getter, price gets people and they want to see what their value is, their home value. So whether you own a home or you're looking for a home, price is always a great one. And then one of the things I wanted to show, and I love quartiles, Mark. We all know I love quartiles. But, let's talk about this. This is a report that's available to you as part of your 3 free, right? So 3 free AccuList market reports. This is a report. I grabbed it for San Jose, and now we're going to take a look at the price per square foot and the quartiles. And let me explain why I like this so much, and why, even if you don't love quartiles, maybe you will after this. The quartiles are just basically price banding. It's taking everything that was sold in San Jose last month and saying, even within San Jose, the range tends to be from 885,000 to 1.92 million, right? So that's a big shift, right? 2 million to 885, and saying when you do that by quartile, you see that the price per square foot can vary quite a bit, right? So your days on market's not going to be too different in San Jose, because Santa Clara County is so tight. But in some other places, this could actually be pretty different. I have an example for Sunnyvale coming up that will show you some of that. But this is what says, hey, if you're in the entry level $1 million market, you're going to look to pay $675 a square foot, versus if you're in the luxury end and you're doing, some parts of the hills, or if you're looking at Willow Glen or some of those larger lots or things, you're going to look to spend the highest amount. Now, that's not always true in San Jose. A lot of times the entry level homes, and we've seen it for the past couple of years, the entry level properties were the ones paying the highest price per square foot. And it's just totally changed, Mark. It's now the highest percentile. So where you're paying the most per square foot is in the higher end of the market, which is really interesting, because your expectations as a buyer or seller, your seller says, my neighbor got $2.3 million. Like, but your neighbor's house is bigger, or your neighbor's in that $2 million market. You're in the $1 million market. Let's talk about getting between 675 and 775, a little bit more realistic. And then the bottom right-hand corner has the price per square foot in San Jose for the last 12 months. And so you could say it's been very strong, very consistent. It's up pretty high right now in February. Right. But you can always take that number too, right? And say, you read in the newspaper for all of San Jose, there's so much diversity. Let's talk about your property. Let's talk about your area. This is your home and its price point. So I love this stuff. Let's look at Sunnyvale, right? So Sunnyvale, little bit of a different story. So you can see here that the price band goes from 1.175 to 2.25, quite different than San Jose. And you can see that
$100 worth of difference there, basically, between the top and the bottom.
Yeah, isn't it really interesting? So just in Sunnyvale in general, single family homes, right? So, you can say here, well, it doesn't really matter, right? Or it's not necessarily such a huge difference. Let's talk about your property. Or maybe this is a great social media post to say it's actually the top, quartile, the top end, the high end of homes in Sunnyvale that are actually selling for the most. Your home is in that top quartile.
Well, and not only selling for the most, but look at the median days on market there. Yeah. The top is selling better than the bottom.
People are feeling spendy.
Yeah.
But now look at this, Santa Clara city of Santa Clara. And then you see it change, right? So there's a pretty significant difference between the second. They're actually the highest price per square foot's coming in the second and third quartile. So people in Santa Clara are saying in that $1.4 to $1.6 million range is where they're going to pay the highest price generally, per square foot, right? So also you can see by the price per square foot that actually November of 2020 was higher than we're seeing in the price per square foot right now. So this also, when people say few sales, very large properties, a few estates that might throw things off, this is where you can say, well, let's apply the price per square foot if you're not happy with the median.
Right.
You don't love a median, or, you don't love what's going on out there, the news, the information you're getting. Well, let's talk about
it'd be interesting, depending on where you work, but I get 3 for free each month, right? Let's say I'm working sort of the west side of the valley. If I did 1 for Cupertino, 1 for Sunnyvale, and 1 for Santa Clara, and I'm working with buyers, wow, do I have a lot of information to provide those buyers to analyze the marketplace of where do they want to live, right? I'm bringing a lot of information to the table.
Well, yeah, because you're saying, hey, first time buyer, you're actually looking at 7 homes, right? You're looking at, 7 homes at this price. You have a little bit more time to choose at 14 days and a little lower price per square foot. So there's a lot of great data in here. And look at, these are 2 posts. I mean, well, I don't know if average price per square foot is a really good social media post. That looks a little blue, but you could take that information and maybe add to the top, which is really cool, right? And not everybody loves quartiles, I'll say it again. But anyway, just trying to show how you take this report and break it up, right? Really? So you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to show all pieces of it. You can take parts of it, pull it out, and this could be 4 posts.
Right.
So
the text that is there under the market update changes for the last month, that changes based on what the data is below, right? And they could
smart text.
They could copy paste.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's smart text. It just shows you what's week, month to month. So I know there are some people who get this every month and then they just post it, right? Because then you get this, consistency of month over month.
right.
So we do a year over year. That's the right hand column, but it's also a month over month. So it's just kind of what you're into. But that's how you take that whole thing where I can say, oh, who designed this? And then say, but there's some usable, this is
Who
horrible.
designed it?
No,
The
and
person
say,
who loves their numbers designed it.
Miles. Um,
Uh,
but how do you use it? That's the
right.
point. So we've gone through these, and so, you know, maybe people really like these graphs or tables. They're tables. This is new listings, and you can see here, hey, buyers, you were looking in Campbell, and there's 34 new listings. That's 20, that's 25% higher than we saw a year ago. Maybe there's something for you out there to see, that kind of a thing. This is where new listings is going to be great for your buyers. It might
Yeah.
lure them out if they've been outbid on things or getting a little bit fatigued by the market. This is a great step for your buyers. You could say that new listings is not great for sellers because it creates competition, but I'll tell you, in Santa Clara County, first
Yeah.
of all,
We,
sometimes new listings actually pushes the prices up because then it just draws everybody out, and we bid up the prices.
yeah.
And so, and it's not, we're so low in inventory and new listings that it doesn't tend to move the needle. So even if these went up to like 60%, you saw 20 extra homes, it's not necessarily enough to put downward pressure on the prices. So I would suggest that new listings is just a good thing. And so you could say, even within areas, hey guys, like, where do we see a big positive change? Willow Glen, 89 new listings in February. Let's get out there. This is a big increase from a year ago. You've been wanting to see things in Willow Glen. This is much higher earlier in the year. Can't wait, don't wait. Let's get out there. That's the kind of thing this information is telling you. Buyers are feeling like they're coming out on the market sooner. Does it mean it will continue to go up? No, it could go down. But right now, you're seeing a lot of people writing these higher prices, right? So if you're gonna go for it. And then look at, even as we transition back to common interest, like, look at the number of new listings without the new builds. So that's another note. That's something we know that most consumers don't know. You may not have the new build data. So let me tell you about Milpitas 32 plus, the ones that your friends told you about in the new development.
Yeah.
Or downtown San Jose, 243. No, it's probably like 270, depending. I mean, that's where you add the real, cross it out. I could see myself being like, Aculus knows nothing. This is 270. This would be an increase of 22%, that kind of thing.
But that knowledge right there, that's that extra relevance in the marketplace that they probably may not be getting from other agents who are not here at this show today, by the way. What you're learning here, folks, is not only the words to say, but the key factors to talk about right now, and those little hidden gems of, let's talk about common interest, because in the numbers, you're not seeing everything because there's the whole new build, right? Take that and run with that dialogue.
Well, and then you could flip it around and say, this is the last stat I'm going to cover, but you could flip it around and say, sellers, there were only a few places that had decreased new listings. You have no competition. Let's get out in the market quickly.
Right.
So there's two sides to every transaction. So this data is very helpful one way or another. There's some things that lend itself to buyers and sellers, and right now in an increasing, a stronger market, there's less good news for buyers. So like new listings is a great thing to focus on because there's hardly any other good news. I chuckle because look at the sale to list price ratio. I mean, we're back to seeing some of these. Look at Sunnyvale at 111. I mean, these are, pre-pandemic certainly type numbers. I think 109% in Saratoga is the highest it's ever been. So this is really high. Gilroy matching an all-time high. Cupertino 110 is at least a 2.5-year high. I mean, these are off sometime with all-time high prices too. So you're saying, hey, this the market's telling us that not only are the prices high, you're not getting a break in the sale to list price ratio. Let's talk specifically about that Los Gatos all-time high price and still a percent up. And so yikes, this is going to be tough. This is great for your sellers though. This is the kind of stuff people want to see. And then even within, like I said, the areas, if you want to get a little bit more tight, and I know you're going to show a tool where you can get very, very tight, but here's some data that's available to you guys for sure. Look at all this, everything over 100, right?
Ouch.
Everything over 100. And then the sale to list price ratio, even in the common interest, only Gilroy, San Jose, Santa Clara staying the same, but almost all over 100 except for Saratoga. Not unusual in luxury markets, right? That's another point. If you're farming these luxury markets, you know very well that this is not always 100%. They're still really high though, even in common interest.
So Michelle, where would you start if you're a brand new agent, right? You have a a fairly good background in statistic, understanding the terms. You got a solid marketing background, and you just want to get started taking some of these charts and graphs and getting them out there. Now, I'm thinking from the buyer side, I'd want to focus down on probably overall inventory, the new listings coming in, and that median sale price. Would you agree? If I focus on the buyer side, is that the story to just start
yeah,
with?
I mean, the buyer side's tough, right? Because you have to be upfront and set expectations, right? Because the times we get in trouble is when your expectations are not aligned with what's happening in the market, right? So it's unfortunately a tough one. But you can focus on the positives, which there are some cities where year-over-year prices are decreasing or coming off that November, December, really high numbers, Mark. Even month to month, we're seeing a little bit of a break. Maybe now's a good time to jump in. Interest rates would be a great one to pair. And then new listings, right? This is the time of year where you're going to see the highest number of new listings, except for last year, which was strange. But classically in Santa Clara County, this is about the time you're going to see them come on. We've got to be aggressive, got to get pre-approved, got to get ready to go, because it's not just the go to 15 open houses this weekend. There's a lot to it. So yeah, new listings. I wouldn't focus on inventory so much. Inventory is still really low.
It's tough, but it is the fact. It's what's pushing and shoving on all the other factors, right?
Yeah. And for your sellers, you could focus on anything.
Anything you want for a seller. Yeah.
All good news. So yeah.
So Jody, you taunted us in the pre-production meeting for this, that you had this idea of Michelle's statistics with great graphics or templates or something, and that it works nicely with, okay, here's a focus for buyers agents. We've got some charts. What would you do from the artistic side?
So actually, and I'll show you what I've been doing since Michelle's been talking. So you can see this came together very quickly. I think in 30 minutes, I put this together just based on the slides that Michelle was showing. I think some of you might be familiar with a program called Canva, CANVA. It is free. Although SCORE has an account, I went ahead and signed up for a free account so that if anybody else wants to try this, you don't have to, worry that I have a pro account or I'm a paid account. So what I did again is I'm going to share my screen and show you what I have been working on. And I think you guys can see this Canva screen, or do you see my email?
Nope. Canva.
Nope, see the Canva.
Okay, good. I've done email before, so I just want to make sure. So this is something that I put together literally while Michelle was talking. Here's something you can show people. It was February 2021 stats, I believe, that you had. Closed 318, which is up 17% from 2020. Here's your median house price. Well, that's up 9% from last year. Days on market, I didn't see that in yours, so I made up 10.
Real close.
It was close. You could put your logo down here and then your contact information. So again, this is something that I did really quickly. And you could see in here, there's pictures, there's elements. So you could see, I searched. One of the things you can see over here is this says is orange and black. But if you notice over here, I changed the colors in it because I wanted it to match my color scheme, and you can do that. So if I click on it and I have these two colors up here, it's going to bring a whole color palette down, and I can change it in real time to see what it looks like on my screen. Does that look good? Does it not look good? Does it pop? I can change the black to the blue color if I want, to the gray color, whatever I want to do to make this pop. I'm not a graphic designer. I didn't even design this outline. this was something that Canva had for free. So this is what the home Canva page looks like. You log in, it's got some recommendations for you. I'm gonna say I wanna make a flyer. That's all I did. I clicked, I wanna make a flyer. And if it cooperates, over on the side over here, if you look at this, that looks really
Oh,
similar
yeah.
to this. So as you guys can see, I didn't want all of the graphics and stuff, but I like the colors. It was aesthetically pleasing to me. So that's what I picked, and I just deleted out all the stuff, but I left some of the text and just moved stuff around. And literally I did this while we were talking. I found a closed sign because I thought that was a little bit nicer than just typing. I put a couple graphics in here. Very easily, you can see how this is curved. I went to effects and I clicked curve.
Wow.
So that's all I did. And it curved it for me. So, these are things you can do. You can kind of make this a neon. You can kind of see it'll pop a little bit and make February neon to pop a little bit more. I can take it off if I want. So again, these are all things that you can do super easy. The other one that I did is I made an Instagram post, and you don't need to know how big the Instagram graphic needs to be. You really don't. Again, in Canva, you click on, let's see, templates, and there's an Instagram story, a post, a Facebook post, a Facebook cover. It's all there for you. You don't have to know what any of those are. And look, there's templates. So if you want to just switch things out, you can. Watch this. I type in real estate and look at all the real estate stuff that comes up. So you've got something for rent, put a graphic. You can do flyers on here. There's social media posts. And again, I want you guys to know that this is a free account. This is not the pro account. And what's nice is if you're searching for a photo, let's say I want to do closed. Oh, that's not how you spell closed. If you want to do closed, like a closed sign, which is different than this one. If you click on this little icon up here where the number 1, I made sure to click free. So if you click free, it'll only show you the free things. It won't show you anything that's paid. So that you can see, if you look under this sorry we're closed one, it has a little crown on it. If it has a crown, that means it's usually $1 or $2. So if you want to have the free account, you can do that. And on occasion, if you find something you want to pay for, then you just do that. And what happens is, I don't know if you can see, but I can add a page. So you can do multiple pages, guys. It's got the hash marks behind it, and it's got a watermark. So that's how you know, like, you can't use it. And if you do want to use it, then it will end up telling you how much it is. I'm not exactly sure how much the pro account is, but I can find out for you guys. So let's say I'm done with this. I'm going to delete this page here, and it's easy. Just click the little trash can. So I'm done with this. I've added everything I want to do. Now I want to do something with it. I want to post it. I want to print it. You click on this download button, and you can download it as a PNG file, a JPEG, a PDF. You can even do GIFs, things like that. Oh, somebody posted it's $12.99 a month for a pro account. Easy to start, easy to work with. So you can download this in, again, some like websites and things like that. It's better to upload it as a graphic, so a PNG or a JPEG. Or again, you can do, if you're doing flyers, when we can have flyers again, you can download them as PDFs. There are so many templates in this. And again, this one right here, I found something that was pleasing to me, and I used it. This Instagram post, I took an Orbit Reality, I made all this up, except for the numbers. The numbers are from Michelle. So what I did here is I said, okay, let's do the median price increase March 2020 to March 2021. So I have two different shades of green, so it's easy to see. And I didn't really make this. I just double clicked on this. So I think you guys can see this. And then right over here on the side, you can see all these numbers. All I did was type in the names of the cities. I typed in the prices that it had, and it auto-populated and made this for me. So if I change, I'll change the Milpitas numbers to something easy, so you can see how much that changed. So you can see that it changes in real time as you're doing it. So you don't have to import anything. You don't have to do anything like that. I think you can put data in from a spreadsheet, but that makes me nervous. So I just like to type in my numbers by myself. But again, as you can see, this is a way that you can make this by yourself. And then I just took the difference and I just put, 5% or 30% Morgan Hill, put a little, Mark was talking about, I think pre-COVID sales or something like that, put something catchy. Again, if you have a logo, put it in here, put your contact information. Again, this is ready to download as a JPEG, as a graphic, and you put it right into your social media. With the pro account, I believe you can actually the free account, you can link your Instagram, you can link your Facebook, your Twitter, your Google Drive, and sometimes these things will automatically post to your social media channels for you. So you don't even have to take those extra steps. You can download shirts, like if you're making, or stickers or anything like that. It's got all of those things in here. There's a question about, can we generate the report on MLS ourselves, or do we need Oculus to do it? I think that's a Michelle question.
Yeah, Michelle and Mark. So there's a couple ways. So those are great, by the way, Jody. That's great.
Oh,
so
this is really
yeah,
cool.
so Jody took what was in my deck, right? So took the data that we just covered and put it in and used just the numbers. So I've seen people screenshot my own information or requested a free report, which is free to all of you guys as part of your MLS listings account. So you could go grab one of your own and use it. So it's up to you. The only thing is that Oculus has your photo and contact information. So I've seen people even request reports and just use the footer as like a header or footer, because it's all spaced properly and has a nice ring to it, and put it where she put score edu. You could put a footer that we created for you. So there's lots of options. And then Mark, it could be grabbed out of Matrix for sure as well.
Absolutely.
And you can upload stuff too. So that Score EDU logo, it's just something I upload. So if you were to click this upload button, you can connect it to different devices or social media accounts. You just click what it is. You find whatever you want. Here's my flag I use for marketing meetings. And if I want to upload that just from my desktop, I put it in. And this is your logo. This is your headshot, your logo. Especially with headshots. If you guys want to talk for a second, I'll see if I can't find one really quick. One of the really nice things
talk amongst yourself.
Yep. Is it'll frame it for you, so that you're not just, you don't just have this picture of yourself floating in the middle of it. There are frames that you can then drop your picture into, and you've probably seen it on some of the Score stuff where it's in a circle or a square or some nice shape, so that then they're all the same size, they're all the same look. So I can find one, but it's really easy to upload. And once your image is in there, if you click on it, it just shows up. So there's so many different things we could do. I could, if you guys want, I can teach an entire class on, fading out colors. If something's too bright, you could notice I can fade out colors and backgrounds and things like that. And again, I do not have a graphic design background at all. But I've been able to figure this out.
Well, so much for my PowerPoint skills.
And that's the other thing. You can do presentations in here.
Yeah.
You can make a did I search for bar chart? So if you go into elements, you'll see there's lines, there's frames, shapes. One of them is called charts. And if you click on where it says see all, these are all the different kinds of charts that you can do. So there's
Michelle, you're gonna love this. Look,
Don't use pie
line
charts in
graphs.
real estate.
Right.
Don't use pie charts in real estate. But otherwise, oh, who doesn't love a good chart?
And if you click on it, it just puts it right into your stuff here. You just update your items at the bottom, you update your numbers, and it just does it for you.
Hey Jody, have you ever heard of a site called Upsplash?
I have not.
So I'm gonna take just control for a second, because I saw you were looking at their photographs, right? All the photos that they had available, and some of them were, they were going to charge you for.
I'm looking at this. This is cool.
Yeah. So this is a company called upsplash.com. This is royalty-free imagery. All these are, you can take them, you can do whatever you want. And I'm just going to type in real estate here. And look at all this stuff. It's just pages and pages of great high-res images that you can just download. I'll take this one right here. Just hit that download button, put it on your Google Drive, put it on your hard drive, whatever it is, and save those for later. So another good sort of marry the two together sometimes to create great images as well.
I just bookmarked that. Thank you.
Should I give, I'll give you one more. PEXEL. It's another free image, high res site. Michelle and I are always out doing presentations, as you know, and I'm always building, PowerPoint slides. And I just created a file on our SharePoint, which is our sharing tool inside the MLS, of just tons of images, tons of photographs, all royalty free. Remember that, that's something to be careful of out there. Don't just Google and copy paste, because if somebody finds their image on your material, you may get a cease and desist letter or worse.
And Wednesday, we actually have a real estate ethical marketing class that talks about make sure your photos are yours, or they're from somewhere like this, and make sure the words that you're using, all of those types of things are yours.
Are yours, yeah.
You don't get caught. Kimberly, I see you have your hand up. I'm going to promote you to a panelist with everybody else. You can ask a question. Does anybody else have any questions? Again, you guys are all able to mute and unmute yourselves if you have questions. I'm more than happy to also do a Canva class at some point. We can do it as a meeting, so everybody can try it out. Kimberly, I saw you for a second. Do you have a question?
Sorry, I'm having some internet issues. Where can I find this on recorded?
So as soon as this is done, we'll get it over to our production guy. He's just going to edit it just a tiny bit. It'll be on the SCORE website probably in the next couple of days, and we'll make sure to email everybody as well with a copy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jody, when you say the SCORE website, are you talking the YouTube channel, or is it somewhere?
So we do have the YouTube channel. It'll go there, but it's also score.com/webinars. Any of our free webinars that we've done live there, and you can always go back. If it's a paid webinar, you'll need to contact us. But once you go to that SCORE website, it'll redirect you to YouTube. But that's where the class will live.
Mark, you mentioned this last website. I didn't catch it, the one that you talked about.
Yeah, I'll put it down here in the chat room for everybody. It's Unsplash, UNSPLASH, Unsplash.
And I just put the other one in there.
One is up and one is un?
No, one is Unsplash. And then the other one is PXEL.com.
I just put it in the chat box too.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
It has an S at the end.
Oh, it does have an S? Okay.
Yeah, at least the one I Googled.
Okay.
Yeah, best free stock photos and videos shared by talented creators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are cool sites.
Mhm.
Cool
Yeah.
sites.
And you know, it was kind of fun to do that. You know, you look at the numbers and then you sometimes you just zone out, honestly. And you just kind of get into it and play with colors and searching for images and searching for different things. And it's a good way sometimes to you know, take the numbers and just make it something fresh and new. And again, post it to your social media, use it for your clients. I can show you guys how to do presentations in here. I think we're going to do a class on Zoom buyer
Nice.
presentations and seller presentations. So how do you create those? And then share it on Zoom.
Yeah, without having to become the PowerPoint expert, right? That kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Although I've always been a big proponent of find yourself a 12 or 13-year-old. They're really good at this stuff,
Yes.
right? And they're cheap. They're cheap for, you know, you can get a lease with an option to buy later on. But
Yeah.
hey, one
They
of the
work for
other things,
snacks.
I want to talk about because I saw you had that ability to change the shade, change the color, right? So if
Yeah.
I've got let's say I've got I work for a broker whose logo is predominantly blue.
Mhm.
I may want to have some blue highlights up in my graphic as well to tie the two together. And I am not the branding expert, believe me. I've got people who take care of me and keep me out of trouble when it comes to branding. But probably really important to create a brand in your template so people get used to seeing them.
So again, I just found Taco Tuesday because why not?
Why not?
So you guys can see this, and you can see it's branded, if you will, yellows, reds, greens. Well, to your point, I can click on, so I've just kind of clicked into the image and it's yellow. But if my company has a blue, I'm like, well, that's super
Now we're
blue.
talking, yeah.
I can't fade that one. That one won't let me fade. I just got rid of it altogether. But I can put a gray.
Okay.
I can go in and add another palette. So if your company a lot of companies, you gotta have pro, but a lot of companies will give you the color codes. I
Right.
think you guys understand what that means. And then you can put those in. So Score has its color codes in there as a palette. But if you don't like this background, I can click on backgrounds. And these are all backgrounds. You know, let's say you're doing a customer appreciation disco party.
I want to go to that party.
And you can see here, I'm kind of using this transparency slider and the background is kind of fading in and out. That's not the best with the Taco Tuesday stuff, but you can do that. Maybe I don't want a taco, I want a disco ball. So I'm going to look for an element because that has more of like the shapes rather than photos. And I'm going to find a disco ball. And look at all the disco balls. Now I want to make sure I have a free one. So here's all the free disco balls. And maybe because that's my background, I'll go with a silver one. So I'm going to delete the taco. And now I have a disco ball.
Jody, this is going to be a fun class.
So you can see, again, this is one of those things you stressed out, you need something different to look at. And this is just something different to get creative and have fun and search and to do all those types of things. So yeah. Anybody have any questions about any of these things? Anybody interested in a Canva class?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I guess there is an Upsplash.
thanks, Jody. So
No, I only find Unsplash when you
Okay.
Google it. But you know, it's just a lot of fun. And again, Michelle, like she said, you can find all of those things on the website, right? Those are all things that are readily available to you either on MLS or on the CAR website. They have one as well. Pull all those
the
numbers.
data's there. The data, let us take that from you and do the data and follow some of the trends that are helpful, and maybe some of the content, if you hear us say it, and then you can say, you know, these are 2018 like numbers. You don't have to go back 4 years and do a lot of hard work. We're doing that for you. It's just how you present it, you know, be creative, but let us take that burden, you know, off, and then you can share it in so many ways. That's what's so great about this content. Every month, we do it every month. In fact, we have weeklies. So
And I
anybody
was
who's
just
super
gonna say that,
interested,
Michelle, we
yeah,
cannot leave without you showing these folks
yeah,
that
the weekly. I mean,
get it today, post it tonight on Jody's special template that you made, and it's branded and color coded, and it's got your photo.
yeah, I mean, and if there's a thing that could use a little help, it's these weeklies, but the data is great. So we do it by county. Every Tuesday morning, they're actually available. They're already up. They're already up. So most people won't know until tomorrow when we send out the email, but this is the stats by week: new listings, change to pending, change to sold. So, you know, you have some of these KPIs, and then you have these graphs. So if you took Jody's and you just plugged in the numbers, that's 3 years worth of data. And look at that new listing. This is my favorite part. Look at those new listings. I was reporting February data. This is March as of weekends, the 20th, right? So we are coming up with this weekly by county. And so you could really go in there and say, hey, look, let's go out. Buyers, look at those 592 new listings 1 week. So significantly over what we've seen the last couple of years. And so again, maybe these are not particularly catching your eye, but take the data, make it into something else.
Right.
Right. So that's at the top of Pro. I went really quickly because I get all excited, but it's up at the top. Oculus weekly market updates. Count on it on Tuesday morning. Sometimes we get it done a little early, like today. So you can always go check that out and reuse that data weekly. Don't even create content on those.
It's
And
really
once you
cool.
have those templates done, just keep reusing them, because you can copy that template you have in Canva and just redo it February, March, April, and then you're not recreating the wheel every time. You're just uploading updating some numbers. Maybe, you know, for springtime, you add flowers maybe, and, you know, just different graphics to kind of go with the season.
Great idea. Great idea.
Yep.
Jody, what are we going to do next month?
I don't know. Okay, so for those of you that are on here, if you have something you want to see us do next month, we are going to be back oh my God, it's April.
I know.
April 19th, I think we're going to be back together. So, you know, there's a survey that we do after this. So after you, actually, we promoted you guys to all to panelists. I don't know if you'll get the survey, but if you guys have ideas for what you want to see more from MLS, kind of a combination of different things like we did here today, anything more in depth, anything that's coming out of MLS that you're like, what does that mean? What is, you know, anything, just send us an email and we will get that in front of all of you.
And Jody, I am putting a quick request from MLS Listings. We're looking at calendaring software for showings.
Okay.
And so I'm going to put a link up to a survey that just came out this morning. We're looking for feedback and insight. What do you use? What do you need in your calendaring tool? What do you think about that whole Zillow bot, you know, showing time thing? So quick little 60 seconds. If you get a chance, we'd love to have you fill it out. It really is helping us make the decisions for your MLS.
Yep. So click on that link that's in there, take the survey, share your feedback. I think, you know, just because vaccines are out and just because we're hearing rumblings of orange here, I think the private showings are going to be here for a little bit longer. So yeah, let them know what you would like to use as a software.
Yep.
What works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
What are your frustration points?